Okay, here's a layout of the house. That's Dylan's room where the little arrows coming from. You see the red footprint. So Dylan would have ran from that area and down those steps. And that's about the estimation of where Zana would have been laying in her floor in her bedroom and where she would have seen her initially. Okay, so between about 5 a.m. and 6:30 a.m., Dylan was actively using her phone and mainly creating, editing, and deleting images and videos. So her phone activity then stopped for a few hours until 8:05 a.m. when she briefly accessed Instagram. So later, around 10 a.m., Dylan got back on Instagram. She began communicating through Snapchat again. And at 10:23 a.m., she sent a text to Madison asking simply, "Are you up?" but still received no answer. Now, the court notes that Dylan continued checking social media, including looking at the Snapchat locations for Ethan and Xana, trying to see if anything seemed unusual. So then at approximately 11:40 a.m., Dylan received a text message from her father checking in to set up a time to talk. So Dylan responded to him, and around the same time, she received two other text messages from her friend named Jenna. The text message said, "Bro, do you guys need me to come get you?" At around 11:50 a.m., Dylan finally made a call to a friend, referring to in court documents as the EA, asking her to come over because she was scared. Shortly after that, EA and her boyfriend HJ arrived at the house and they met up with Dylan and Bethany on the bottom floor. Now, together, Dylan, Bethany, and HJ began walking upstairs to the second floor. When they reached the second floor, HJ went into the kitchen. He grabs a knife, presumably for protection. So when he came back out, Dylan caught a brief glimpse of Xana again and immediately started bawling. She was overwhelmed with fear and confusion, and she thought maybe Xana was still drunk and just asleep, but she wasn't sure exactly what was happening. But BF also saw Xana lying on the floor. Recognizing that something was very wrong, HJ told DM and BF to get out of the house immediately because I'm assuming that he seen the wounds and what was potentially going on with Xana. So EA, who had started to come up the stairs, was also instructed to turn around and leave. So they all went outside the house, and moments later, HJ exited the home, pale white, and he told them that they needed to call 911. He mentioned something about someone being unconscious. And at 11:56, BF calls 911 using her cell phone. And as most of you know, the 911 call lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Um, and I'm just going to be brief about it. The phone, they stated the phone was passed around between Bethany Dillon, HJ, and an unidentified female. There was heavy breathing, crying, clear emotional distress. Um, BF spoke to the dispatcher saying something's happened in our house, and we don't know what. BF tried to give the dispatcher their address, but became too upset to continue. Um, During the call, one of the unknown females explained that one of the roommates passed out. She was drunk last night. She was not waking up. And then they continued to discuss things with the dispatchers. Most of you know the phone call. So DM and others tried to determine if Xana was simply passed out. So DM then told the dispatcher that Xana was not waking up, and HJ confirmed it was Xana. Shortly after that, law enforcement arrived at the scene. HJ asked DM to take over, speaking to the officer, saying he couldn't do it, and DM resumed talking to the dispatcher. So HJ had also told the dispatcher that Xana was no longer breathing, but he didn't give any details into that we're aware of. So